Now that I go to a predominantly white college, I have started to, regret going there. Hi, my name is Ava, and today we're going to be talking about my life. To be a little more specific, we're going to talk about the ways in which I experience racism and just realizing that I'm Black. So, I'm not really going to talk about anything crazy like the news stories that you may have heard, but this is more or less just understanding how racism exists in the smaller ways. Like, not everything is like police brutality and craziness like that, and that's bad, but it's mostly going to be talking about microaggressions today. So, as I was growing up, my parents never really talked to me about race specifically. Like, I knew about race, but I never really understood how much hatred people have for Black people. I just didn't really get the whole race talk. And I'm also not sure if other Black people do this to their kids and tell them about race, but I was never really taught about the differences between how you're treated depending on how you look. I just kind of had to figure it out for myself. When I was younger, I was a straight-haired girly. My mom would straighten my hair all the time. I never had curly hair. I didn't even know what my natural curls were supposed to look like because my hair was so dead. So I always had straight hair, but once I got to high school, I started straightening it less because I wanted to get my curls back. And once I started doing this, whenever I would straighten my hair, I'd get the comments of like, "Oh, you look so nice now that you straighten your hair. Like, you look so much better. You should do this more often. Why don't you always straighten your hair?" Things like that. And those things always bothered me, but I didn't really realize that those were kind of microaggressions because it just feels bad to have someone tell you that you look so much better with your hair in a state that's not how it naturally grows out of your head. Like, I enjoy straightening my hair, and I think it's fun to see it straight once a year. But at the same time, I don't think that I look more pretty with my hair straight. Or I would get the offhand comments of like, "You're the whitest Black girl I know," things like that, where it's not necessarily something that's really mean or filled with hate. I don't think these kids meant it that way, but at the same time, it would just make me feel weird because it's like, I know that I'm Black, and I don't really hang out with that many white people. So why are people calling me white? Like, it just feels weird. In a way, it's kind of alienating because I'm not mixed. And that'd be different if I was mixed with Black and white and I didn't know how to navigate that, but I'm not. So it's just in the way that I didn't feel that I fit in with the white people because I'm not white. And then I try to hang out with like the smaller group of Black people at my school, and then I'm too white for them. So it would just kind of make me feel like I did not have a specific circle. And that's why now most of the Black friends I do have would be considered whitewashed because I know that they understand how I feel, so they wouldn't treat me the way that other people have treated me. Now that I go to a predominantly white college, I have started to, regret going there. And I know that I don't think I would feel very good at a predominantly Black college just because I've never really been in a space where Black people were the majority, and I'm not from the South. So I think that would just be a lot of change for me, and I would feel weird about it. It's a lot to go to a college where there's barely any Black people. For example, if I see more than 10 Black people on campus one day, that's very surprising. And there's so many people at my school. Like, I don't know how many there is, but there's just too many there. But to really put it in perspective, I'm usually the only Black girl or the only Black person in my class. This semester, I have 6 classes, and in 3 of my classes, there's 2 Black people, including me, and that's honestly crazy. This is the first semester that I've had more than one class where I'm not the only Black person. And it's not like I'm in a really small major. I'm in the largest major at my school. Going to a PWI mostly just affects my self-confidence because I'd like to think that I'm a confident person most of the time, but just being there and knowing that I don't look like most of the people going there, and I don't know if they're racist or if their parents are racist or things like that, where it's already hard enough to fit in college. And then also the fact that I'm so different from everyone else. And I especially feel this on days that I wear my hair down. And my hair's down right now, but not like this. I'll put up a picture. But when I wear my hair really big, I feel like I'm making a statement, and I don't like that. Because that's just the hair that goes out of my head. Like, I'm not trying to make it super big. That's just what it looks like. But it feels like a statement because everyone else at my school has straight long hair, and I just feel so different and like everyone's staring at me. There are even certain times where I try to assimilate a little bit more. And that's why I wear my hair like this, because I braided my hair to make it a little less big. Because it just makes me feel better to not have my hair as different as everyone else's. But also the style is more manageable, so it's not just me wanting to look like everyone else. But even when I go to school events or things like that, I try to dress like how everyone else dresses. I try to dress basic, more white girl. And I don't usually dress very crazy on the day-to-day. I'm not super fashion girl. But at the same time, I'll pull out my little shirt that everyone else wears just so I can try to look the same, even though I am the only black one there. Going to the school does make me wish that I was mixed. And I mean in the way of like visibly mixed, where you can tell that they have a black parent, but at the same time, you don't immediately look at them and think that they're black. Because like people will think that I'm mixed and I'm not, but sometimes it's just hard to be different from everyone else. Because when I was in elementary and middle school and high school, I was around a lot of white people, but at the same time, we had a lot of Hispanic people and way more black people than I have at my school now. So it wasn't as weird, and I didn't really feel like I was the odd one out. So let's talk about the area that I'm in. Since I do go to a PWI, the rest of the area is predominantly white too. And a lot of the times, it does make me feel uncomfortable. I don't really like being in spaces where I'm the only black person because I feel very unsafe. It's just that I don't feel accepted, and I don't know what's gonna happen. Every time I go grocery shopping, I'm usually the only black person there. And I don't like that it's like that, but at the same time, I've kind of gotten used to it. But it does kind of scare me because with adults, I don't know what they're going to do. Like, I just feel like once you get to a certain point of your life, you're not afraid to do anything. And that's why I just don't like being around a lot of white adults at school. It doesn't bother me because I'm not really worried about getting hate crimed at my school. But at the same time, when I'm just out, it does worry me. I especially feel this when I get really dirty looks from people. And I always try to gaslight myself into thinking like, oh, like they're not looking at me, or they're just having a bad day, that's why they look really mad. But I know that there's something inside of me that's telling me there's a reason why they're looking at me. Because no one just looks like they hate you if they're having a bad day. Because I'm a girl who gives dirty looks. I do. Like, if I'm mad, I'm gonna give a dirty look. But I never look like that. I don't know how to look like that. You would have to do something very bad to me. And it just makes me feel so uncomfortable and not safe that someone who has never seen me before and doesn't know me could look at me that way with just such hate at the fact that I'm breathing the same air as them. And sometimes people don't really believe me when I tell them these things, like, oh, maybe they weren't looking at you, maybe something was happening, but I just know that they were looking at me. I just have, like, in my intuition, I know they were looking at me. But experiences like this do make me wonder why I chose this school or why I chose to be in a predominantly white area, because it's a nice area. And I think I would love it here if I was white. And I don't hate it here. I think it's fine, but at the same time, I know that if I was white, I could be having the time of my life. I really could. I would not be worried about going places and being the only black person. I wouldn't be worried about going to school and not being accepted in like groups or frats and things like that because I'm the only black person. It just gets kind of annoying, kind of overplayed of worrying about being the only black person. Like, I'm just tired of it. I don't want to think about that, and I don't constantly want to think about race either, but at the same time, I have to. Let's talk about how I feel around the police. Specifically, anyone in uniform. They could just be like a mall cop, a safety officer, like they could be someone who can't even put me in jail, but they still stress me out. And I am not someone who doesn't follow the law. I'm not someone who breaks the law. I'm not doing anything bad. I'm not worried about them catching me for anything because I haven't done anything. But just something about it makes me so uncomfortable. Recently, I was in the store grocery shopping, and there were a bunch of firefighters in the store because there was accidents near, and they looked so nice. Like, if I looked at them, they look like really nice people, just smiles on their face, no malice at all. But I was so afraid. And I know that they're not going to do anything, but at the same time, just the uniform in itself, knowing that you have this power and that you could do something to me wrongfully if you're just feeling especially racist that day, really scares me. And it just kind of sucks that I don't feel safe around them because I always see them talking to other white people and they're like thanking them and they're just so happy to see them, and you can tell that they really feel safe. And I feel the exact opposite. And it kind of makes me mad sometimes because, like, I don't want to feel this way, but at the same time, I haven't really been proven wrong enough to not feel that way. So I just have to keep my guard up in order to keep myself safe. I also feel this way with the campus police. I'm not sure what the campus police can do. I don't even know if they're real police. I could look that up, but I don't want to. But I still don't feel safe around them either. There was a week recently where there was more police on a campus. I think it was like a safety week or something like that. And I hated it. I did not like walking to school and you see the police car like waiting out there. You see them driving around. I just don't like that. I don't like to walk past them. I don't like to look at them. I don't want them to see me. It makes me feel so unsafe. So those are most of my experiences where I've really been forced to remember my race. But let's talk about how I got to this point of understanding race, since no one taught me about it. Most of my understanding has come from experience and other people's experiences, mine, and from TikTok. And I know it's not good to get research from TikTok, but like they really taught me a lot since I don't have a lot of black friends and my family's kind of small. I've learned a lot from them in the ways of just why things happen, or the difference between something that's normal or something that is a microaggression. And this can also be something where people are wondering, why are you always thinking about race? Why does everything have to be a race thing? I always see that on Black TikTok where people comment that, but at the same time, we are not the ones who make everything about race. We just have to deal with it. The other people have made everything about race, but they don't have to deal with it because they're not the race that gets impacted. I just think a lot of people don't think about this sometimes, and they constantly go to black people and wonder why we're so mad and why everything has to be about race. But we didn't make it about race. We just have to deal with it. But yeah, I think I'm gonna end it here. And this was just a little talk, a little chat about my life and how I experience being black. So if you like this video, leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!